Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. I miss all of you. I hope that you are adjusting to this online learning stuff because I know it can be kind of difficult and confusing. Today I'm going to be teaching a lesson on solving equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. This is a lesson that we had at the beginning of the year, so it should just be a review for you. I'm going to be recording this and then uploading it in Edpuzzle. Now, Edpuzzle is a program where you play the video and then it'll stop you at certain times and ask you questions. So be sure you're paying attention so you can answer those questions correctly. Okay, before we get started on the actual lesson, let's do a fun little riddle. If you buy a rooster for the purpose of laying eggs and you expect to get 3 eggs each day for breakfast, how many eggs will you have after 3 weeks? If you answered 0, you are correct because roosters do not lay eggs. Okay, let's get started. Here are vocabulary words for today. So variable is a word we've all seen many times, and in this case it's going to be a letter. It's going to be in all of our equations, and it's going to be like X or N or B. These other 2 words are pretty similar. We have combining like terms and collecting like terms. So combining like terms is when we're dealing with one side of the equal sign, and when we're collecting like terms, that's when we're dealing with both sides, and you'll see that throughout the lesson today. Remember, we are collecting all of our variable terms on one side and all of our constant terms on the other. It does not matter which side you do this on. I typically like to do variable terms on the left and constant terms on the right, but you can do either way. Our first equation is 8x equals 5x plus 15. So I am going to color code it so we can see I want my variable terms on the left side and my constant terms on the right side. Since you won't have colored paper to coordinate this with, I would suggest that you draw a line or a wall right here so you can know which side you're working with. Okay, so I would like to get all of my x's on the left side. So to do that, I have to do the inverse operation. So I'm going to subtract 5x on this side, and that gets rid of it. And remember, whatever we do on one side of the equal sign, we have to do on the other. So I have to subtract 5x on this side. 8x minus 5x is 3x. And then we just bring everything else down. So our equal sign, and we're left with this 15. Okay, so now we are just solving this equation. So we have 3x equals 15, and right here, this is multiplication. It's 3 times x. So the inverse operation of that is division. So we divide by 3 on this side. That gets rid of that. And then whatever we do on this side of the equal sign, we have to do on this side. So we divide by 3. And we are left with x equals 5. Okay, let's do another equation. So we have 5x minus 2 equals 3x plus 4. For this one, we have variables and constants on both sides of the equation. So I'm going to go ahead and color code this one again. I'm going to collect all my variable terms on the left side of the equal sign and my constants on the right side. So let's start with our variables. I'm going to draw my wall. To get rid of this 3x on this side, we subtract 3x. And then we're going to come to this side of the equal sign and do the same thing. So 5x minus 3x is 2x. And then I'm going to just bring everything else down. So minus 2 equals, and we haven't done anything with that 4, so we'll bring it down. So now we have 2x minus 2 equals 4. And now we want to bring all of our constant terms to the right side. So again, we're going to do the inverse operation. So the opposite of subtraction is addition, so I'm going to add 2 on that side to get rid of it. And then the same thing on this side, add 2, 4 plus 2 is 6, and I'm going to bring everything down. So my 2x equals 6. And once again, now we're just going to solve it using the inverse operation. So I divide by 2 on this side, and divide by 2 on this side. So x equals 3. Okay, and guys, if I'm going a little fast, it's because this is a skill that we have learned. But in this video, you can rewind it if you need to go back and look at anything. Okay, let's do another example. So we have 9n minus 6 equals 5n plus 18. So we again have variables and constants on both sides, so we need to collect those on either side. So I'm going to go ahead and color coordinate it. And first I'm going to draw my wall. And I need to bring all my variables over to the left side, so I'm going to subtract 5n. And the reason I'm subtracting 5n is because this one's a positive and I need to get rid of it. And then I have to do the same thing on this side, minus 5n, which is 4n. And then I bring everything else down that I haven't used, so minus 6 equals 18. Okay, so now I have constants on both sides, so I need to collect them on the right side. So in order to do that, I need to use the inverse operation on this one, which is plus 6. And then same thing on this side, plus 6, which is 24. And then I'm going to bring my 4n down. 4n equals, and now I just solve it. So this is 4 times n, so we use the inverse operation. Divide by 4, divide by 4, gets rid of it, and then 24 divided by 4 is 6, so n equals 6. All right, let's look at another example. So this one is, or it looks a little more complicated, but it's not. We just have some terms we need to combine. So let's go ahead and look at it with our colors. So we talked about combining like terms earlier, and that's when you combine them on one side of the equation. So let's go ahead and combine our 6y with our 3y. So it's 6 minus 3y gives us 3y. And then I'm just going to bring everything else down. So plus 4, and then our equal sign. And on this side, we have our constants that are alike. So we have 17 and negative 5. So I'm going to do 17 minus 5, which is 12. And then I just bring down my y. So now this is more so what we're used to looking at, and we can now collect our terms on either side. So I'm going to do my variables first, so minus y, and then I'm going to subtract y on this side. And remember, there's an invisible 1 here, so I'll just go ahead and put that. 3y minus 1y is 2y. I'm going to bring everything else down. Plus 4 equals 12. Okay, so now I need to bring all my constants on the right side. So I'm going to subtract 4 and subtract 4, which gets me 8. Then I'm going to bring my 2y down. 2y equals 8. And now I just need to solve it. So I divide by 2 on this side, divide by 2 on this side, and that gives me y equals 4. Okay, we're going to do one last example. This is another one where we're going to have to combine some like terms. So let's go ahead and look at our colors. Now I do have the colors on opposite sides this time because we're going to combine our variables on the right side and our constants on the left side, and we'll go over why we're going to do that in a little bit. So as you can see, on our left side we don't have any like terms to combine, but on our right side we do. We have our x's to combine. So we have 7x minus 3x, so that's going to give us 4x. And then we're just going to go ahead and bring everything else down. Equals 14 plus x. Okay, so now we can go ahead and collect our terms on each side. So I'm going to start with the variable, and I'm going to actually bring it on the right side. So minus x. So this is actually 1x, so that's going to give us 3x. Bring everything down, plus 32 equals 14. Okay, now let's collect our constants. So minus 32. Okay, so if you remember our integer rules, if you have a positive and a negative number, the first rule is to subtract the bigger number from the smaller number. So we'll do 32 minus 14, 8. So it's going to give us 18. And then the second step is to take the sign from the bigger number. And as you can see, 32 is our bigger number and it's negative. So we have negative 18 equals 3x. Now we just solve it. So we divide by 3, divide by 3. So x equals negative 6, because if you divide a negative by a positive, it gives you a negative. All right, guys, you guys can go to Google Classroom. There will be an assignment in there where you can practice on solving equations with variables on both sides of the equation. And please feel free to ask any questions if you have them.